Hello and welcome to Three Questions With. I got my friend Alysa with us from a People Partner. Alysa, good morning and welcome to the show.
Morning. Thank you for having me.
So I asked you to come on the show today because we're coming into the end of the year and we have to start thinking about training budgets and setting a training schedule for our people. Let's talk a little bit about the importance of that. Can you give us some examples of why this is so important?
Sure. So, in a lot of companies, part of the performance reviews that you do with your employees include not only your KPIs and the metrics that they have to meet, but they include personal goals that those individuals have, maybe development goals. And so, if they're setting development goals, whether that's to grow in your organization or whether that's to grow educationally in another capacity, you want to help them with that, whether that's monetarily or by providing the training or what have you, because then they are going to be more knowledgeable individuals and bring a different skill set and be able to bring that knowledge to your organization. And so I think training and learning is always a really important piece of everybody's puzzle. And so a lot of times we don't realize that we're not training, or we have an allocated budget that nobody's using. And so how do we get everybody to understand what that looks like? And that's really important.
So Alysa, I worked in a small organization and we didn't even consider training. If you were doing your job and you were doing an adequate job, we were happy. And in most cases, the employees were happy. But I'm seeing a shift now where people realize, you know what? It was common for my generation to have a job and do the same thing for 30 years. And when I look at the younger generation, they're like, you got to be kidding me. You did the same job for 30 years, like without being promoted. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was common. Not so common anymore. People want to grow and be challenged, right?
Yes, they do. And, part of that, especially when you talk about the younger generations, part of what you'll often see is that they grew up as multitaskers, right? So they were doing a lot of things at once. And so they don't want to be stagnant in one field or one position forever. They want to see that growth, because that growth also comes with monetary growth, and it also comes with reward, whether that's monetary or not. It comes with gratification. And so, learning and training is really important to that. And when you think about it, if you have people doing the same job that they've always been doing, you're not bringing in new value. You're not challenging the organization with, what are the naysayers going to say? What are our shareholders or our stakeholders going to question about this? Or how can we improve for the customers that we're helping to support, right? So you're not getting those elements if you're not having a workforce that you're training to think outside of the box that you've put them in.
Plus I found that the training has a lot of value,
Mhm.
especially like user groups, if you will, where, hey, we're all using the same tele software. So by going, you were learning how to use the software better, but also you were making connections to other people. So it would often happen, something would happen like, geez, we don't really know how to fix this. We would reach out to people we met through training saying, hey, I know they're using the software. Let me see if they've come across this. So there's a lot of networking opportunities through training too, right?
There are definitely networking opportunities, ways to understand best practice, like you were talking about, for other organizations, really just ways to build a camaraderie and also grow your network of brand ambassadors, people that recognize your company and know who you are and what you do. And again, that training doesn't always have to be send them out to an educational seminar. That can be, maybe they want to learn conflict resolution. Maybe they want to learn how to network, and you send them to a BNI so that they can learn how to present in public, right? That can be something that's a training for them. Um, Everybody is going to need a training of a different caliber, right? And you talked about, in your former life, they saw sort of training being a negative, right? You only went to training if you were getting a disciplinary action and you needed better management coaching. That shouldn't be, training shouldn't be a negative. It should be a value add to the organization and that employee.
So the last thing, Alysa, is sometimes we're insecure. I worked in a small organization. There wasn't a lot of room for you to grow. And we was concerned that if we educated people and gave them those skills, they may take that talent someplace else. It's part of life, right?
It is. And just because they take that talent somewhere else doesn't mean that that can't add value to you in the future. If you were a good employer for them and you valued them and they felt valued, they might come back to you in 3 years or 5 years when they have more knowledge and more applied principle and be able to provide more extreme value to your organization. You have to look at it almost like working as a collective, right? These employees are a collective and you're helping our population grow and succeed. And so if you are training them and you're feeling insecure that you're training them for the future of, your competition, so to speak, if you're helping in other ways, if you're providing engagement in other ways, or you're allowing them to take that learning and create something unique in your organization, you're going to retain them. There are other ways to develop a strategy to retain them, even after they've had that learning. That's not a requirement of like, you have to stay for so many years.
Yep.
But it's more so if they leave, that's okay, right? Because they might take that knowledge and still be able to use it for the good of your business, or the good of your industry.
Yep. So Alysa, what's the best way for people to reach out to you? How can they learn more?
You can learn more at apeoplepartnerllc.com. That's where you can find how to contact me, book sessions with me. You'll see articles, videos, the whole bit. So definitely visit apeoplepartnerllc.com.
Alysa, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call to the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thank you.